Hi everyone. Apple is making its announcement in 12 hours time. And the tagline is high speed. It's a very interesting tagline. For one, when you look back in the last few months of their announcements, they are focused around their Apple Silicon and they have a roadmap of 24 months to revamp their entire product line, all based around Apple Silicon. So this is a very exciting turn of events for Apple, and it's also very exciting for the rest of the Apple community. So let's take a look at what could be the interesting thing, and here are some of my expectations and also predictions. So for the highlight of the announcements that's happening in the next 12 hours will be centered around the iPhone 12. This is definitely their next flagship product in terms of the Apple Silicon, the A14. Alongside the Apple Silicon announcements, right, the products that will have a major impact will be the Apple TV and as well as the MacBook. Apple TV has always been on the Apple Silicon, but with the A14, the Apple TV could do more in the TV entertainment space. The MacBook certainly needs an upgrade in due course, and when we look at the Apple Silicon, the progress of its engineering, innovation, right, and the processing performance and efficiency, that is actually very impressive. The other accessories that potentially will be announced today will be the HomePod and the AirPods. Right, this has been rumored on the new announcement on the HomePod series as well as the new AirPods Studio. So let's take a look at the Apple Silicon. If you look back in the last 2 years on the Apple Silicon on the A12, A13, A12X, and A12Z, with the A14 that's been announced with the iPad Air Gen 4, there is a lot of very interesting tweaks, although it mentions 20% to 40% improvement versus the A12 in the previous generation of the iPad Air. There has been many innovations around it in terms of the CPU and the GPU performance, and also on the neural network engine. Right, in the follow-up of the whole entire Apple Silicon family history, it has been on the die string from 45 nanometers to the 7 nanometer in A13, and the A14 is the first Apple Silicon on the 5 nanometer process. The A14 comes with many new innovations, in particular the new 6-core CPU and the new 4-core GPUs. Looking at the performance in the later slide, you see that it's actually a very marked improvement over the A12 and the A13, and it really challenges the Intel processors. The other part of it is it has also an advanced machine learning controller and also a new 16-core neural engine that is performing at 11 TOPS. Comparing to the A13, it does about 6 TOPS, so this is almost like a 100% improvement over its performance on the neural engine, and this is a very marked improvement and a very impressive trait of the A14. Let's take a look at the details of the A12 Bionics, A13, and as well as the A14 in the last 3 years. Looking at the CPU performance, it has been improving in terms of its efficiency and performance and its clock speed, ranging from 2.49 GHz to 2.65, and in the new 18 Bionic that is in the iPad Air, it is now at 3 GHz. Although the number of GPU cores is the same, but it also has improved a lot in terms of its metal benchmark scores. The other interesting thing is also in terms of its AMX block technology. It's a second generation for matrix multiplication. Looking at the Geekbench 5 single core and multi-core scores of the A12 to 13 to 14, you can see that the single core score has been improving almost like every 20% generation over generation. And for the multi-core, it is also likewise about 20% improvement. And in particular for the GPU, the metal score is very impressive. From the A13 to the A14, it has a very significant improvement. Let's take a look at the current MacBook Air, early 2020 model using the Intel 10 Gen processor 4-core 8 threads, compared to the iPad with the A14 Bionic chipset. Here you see that the A14 Bionic chipset actually surpasses the MacBook Air in terms of single core, multi-core. This is a very significant improvement, and it actually shows us that the A14 is ready to replace the MacBook Air in terms of performance and also at a lower cost. Looking at the MacBook Pro 13-inch that's also announced this year using the Intel 10 Gen processors, The single core performance of the A14 Bionic chipset actually already surpassed it. It is slightly weaker in terms of multi-core because it has 6 cores versus the 8 threads on the Intel processors. So when you do the linear scaling of the A14 Bionic chipset with more cores, this will definitely surpass the Intel 10th Gen processors on the MacBook Pro series. However, there is only one weakness in the A14 chipset, which is the AES encryption performance. This could be improved by upgrading the T2 to a new generation of T3 chips, right? Or even including some advanced performance in the AMX chip. The other one is looking at the multi-core performance for 8-thread CPU versus a 6-core A14, is that it just needs more cores, right? If you have the A14 in the X series or Z series with higher CPU core, this A14 Bionic would definitely surpass the Intel 10th Gen processor. In terms of speculation and my prediction, Apple has already been announcing the A12X and A12Z in the iPad Pro series. My speculation there will also be an X and a Z variant of the A14 with a higher clock and possibly in terms of higher CPU and GPU core count to compensate for the performance requirements. The A12Z is a good reference to look at what could be the future of the A14. At the A12 Bionic on the left, there's only 2x high performance Vortex cores and 4x energy efficient Tempest core. But in the A12Z, it has upgraded to 4x Vortex cores while retaining the efficient core count at 4 and also maintaining the same core speed. Looking at that and projecting it on the A14, my speculation is that the A14X could come with 4x Firestorm cores, and the higher performance A14Z could come with even up to 6 or 8 Firestorm cores. And in the GPU space, it's also a very likely chance that A14X will get an 8-core GPU upgrade, and potentially the A14Z may come with a 12 or even a 16-core GPU core count. This will enhance its GPU performance and be very well suited to replace the MacBook Pro 16-inch with even higher performance A14Z processors. In terms of the Geekbench 5 scores, these are just my estimations. These are not real-world tests, so just take it as a pinch of salt. But my expectation is that at the A14 Bionic, achieving a multi-core count of near to 4,200, at the A14X with 2 additional Firestorm high-performance core, I think it could actually hit around a 5,800 score point. And in the Metal score for the GPU, by upgrading from 4 to 8 core, I expect the Metal score to increase by about 50% or higher. So my estimation is more conservative, around 18,000. On the A14Z, if it comes with a 6x Firestorm core and also a 12-core GPU, my estimation for the multi-core count could go as high as 7,500 to 8,000 range, or even higher if they increase the core count or clock speed. For the Metal space, when you upgrade to a 12-core, I expect to gain another 6,000 points on the Metal. It could be around 24,000 or even higher score than that. So here are just my predictions. Hopefully some part of this will come through in the next 6 months. Then we'll see a new range of iPads, a new range of MacBook Pro, right, and even the iMac that has the A14 Silicon. This will be a very important game changer. And here is my Apple Silicon product lineup. Potentially the Mac Mini is time for refresh. On the MacBook Air, definitely A14 is an ideal replacement. And on the MacBook Pro 13 and even the 16-inch series, my expectation is the A14 X or Z chips that will power it in the next 6 months. Hopefully we see some of these announcements tonight, and it will be a very interesting game for Apple. So what do you think of my predictions? Do leave me your comments, share it right before the show comes online in the next 12 hours. So let's do some guesstimation and predictions, and let's see what will come out in the Apple event. Thanks and take care.